All right, we're live. So welcome to Insights from Philly, and I'm with my special guest, Keith Byars. I'm real excited for Keith to talk to everybody today, and I'm excited to see you, Keith. And let me just start off by saying thanks so much for being here, and congratulations on that phenomenal honor earlier this year that you're going to be inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame. So, man,
Yeah.
congrats.
How about that? It
Yeah.
feels good. It feels good. It's a great honor. I don't take it lightly, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. And millions of people have played college football, but I think it's only like 1,000 of us, a little over 1,000, that are inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame. So I'm honored to be a part of that class and a very select group of people.
Yeah, and it's quite a group this year that you're going in with Eric Dickerson and Jumbo Elliott and Steve McNair and you know
Yeah. Lomas Brown, the big offensive lineman from
Lomas
Florida.
Brown
We
too,
were all
right?
Americans in college at the same time.
Oh
Great
yeah,
Detroit Lion player. So
yep.
it's fun. I know a few people, Eric Dickerson, of course, and I know Steve McNair's family. I'm sure they'll be there to represent him.
Well, I'm gonna tell everybody a little story. So it's very apropos that you're my first guest because back in 1989, you were actually the first player that I ever got an endorsement for, and I was working at Comcast at the time, which nobody really knew who Comcast was.
They were infancy.
Yeah, exactly. And so I had been pitching this guy for about a month on this TV deal, and he wasn't saying yes, he wasn't saying no. He finally said, "Look, I'll do the deal, but you got to get me Keith Byars as my guy." And I said, "Okay, Keith Byars it is." And I said, "Well, what made you choose him?" And he said, "Oh, I'm an Ohio State alum." So I was like, "All right." Now that showed me the power of you know
Ohio State.
yeah, the Ohio State, right? So I said, I'm going to get Keith Byars for you. So I didn't know you. What I did was basically I wrote up a proposal and drove down to the practice facility adjacent to the vet, waited for you to come off the field, got out of my car. I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Byars, can I talk to you for a second?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "I got this deal. It's a cell phone for you and your wife for a year and $5,000." And you said, you were kind of like, "What's the catch?" And boom, that was the first endorsement I ever got. And a couple years later, I was working with like 6 guys on the team. So I owe it all to you, and thanks. And what we're here to do today really is to a lot of people are going through a lot of struggles and tough times, and it's a crazy time we're living in. What I wanted to see was this show's called Insights from Philly. What kind of insight can you give to our viewers and people around the world about how you overcame some really difficult, tough thing, and then coming out the other side?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Oh man, I think it starts with your belief in God. First, and you have to have someone bigger than you that you rely on, and you have to have trust that it's going to work its way through. And then just apropos, you talking about a question in Philadelphia. All my life, I wanted to play professional football, and I was seemed to be on the right track of making that happen until my senior year in college, and I broke my foot, and it seemed like my dreams, not only of winning the Heisman Trophy my senior year, my NFL dreams are also seem to be getting, taking a dash too. And just to, fast forward the clock a little bit, all the way up until the week of the draft, I was in a cast for 2 weeks. I had an operation in January, lead of 1986. Drafting, of course, is in April, and I didn't get out of a cast until the beginning of April. So about a 2.5 week, I was on a whirlwind tour of the NFL. It was 28 teams in the NFL. I visited 21 of 28 teams, and the last team I visited was the Pittsburgh Steelers. And while I was at that visit, the Eagles had called me and said, "Since you're in Philadelphia, why don't you jump on a plane and fly over to Philly so we can, examine you?" And I was like, "No, I'm tired. You guys share medical information anyway. I'm tired." So I went back home, and then a couple of days later, Buddy Ryan called me a medical reject on his
Huh.
radio show. on that Monday, the draft was on a Wednesday back in those days, and um, I had, no doubt that I had no idea I was coming to Philadelphia. The morning of the draft, it started at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was a 10th player picked. So when they were at about pick 4 or 5, the Eagles called and asked me if I wanted to have an operation. They would, if I'm still there at 10, and they draft me, will I okay an operation on my foot, another operation? And I was like, no. If I'm still there at 10, don't draft me. If you think I'm gonna have another operation when I come to Philly. And my mother and father looked at me like, you told them what? So I just trust and believe, in God and all the rehab that I've been doing. I'm not going to need another operation on this foot. And I didn't. And so I just kept my strong faith and belief that I would never have one. No sooner than the ninth pick of the draft came up was the Pittsburgh Steelers. And a lot of people had me slated to go there. They chose John Reinstra, offensive tackle out of Temple University. And within, you got 15 minutes to make the next choice, which was the Eagles. They didn't take 2 minutes. Buddy Ryan had called me. Next thing I know, Pete Rozelle was going to the lectern, and the Eagles, drafted me. So I saw it come out on the other side, and I was excited, to be drafted in the NFL, number one. Number two, coming to a place like Philly, I've always been a sports historian. I know how Philadelphia is about their sports teams. And being an Ohio State guy, I know how Ohio State is about it. So I was excited to come to Philadelphia, and it worked out. But I never lost faith in believing that, your dreams do come true. And, my dream came true to get an opportunity to play professional football.
Yeah, I mean, top 10 pick, that's pretty high up there. So do you think Buddy was kind of setting the stage by saying that in order to scare people off you?
Oh, good question. That was Buddy. That was, and Buddy had told. Buddy was in Philadelphia for 5 years, and I think all of his first three round draft picks, he had met and talked to on the phone or face to face. I was his only pick he didn't talk to, and I asked him. I said, "Why didn't you ever come talk to me when I was in college?" He said, "I knew plenty about you, enough homework on you. I knew about your family and what kind of background you come from. I didn't have to talk to you. You were my guy all along." And that was the reason why he was throwing people, off the scent about drafting me, because he said I was his pick. That's why, he didn't waste 15 minutes, mulling over who he saw that I was there. And he said, when he showed faith and confidence at me, as a 21, 22-year-old kid coming out of college, I had to show that faith and and loyalty, back to Buddy Ryan, because a lot of people saying that maybe he's never going to recover from this foot, but I was able to, and I've never had any other operation on my foot again. I eventually broke the other foot, but again, no, no problems at all on either foot after I got it taken care of.
Well, a lot of people probably don't know that you were the runner-up for the Heisman in '84, as well as you were the leading scorer and leading rusher in the world that year in college football. So that's
pretty hard to do, at any era, but especially in that era, we were in the Big Ten Conference, and we played a Big Ten schedule plus, which is now called Power 5 teams. We didn't play any Sisters of the Poor, if you will, where you can get a chance to pad your stats. We had big games after big games, all 11 straight games without a bye week. So, so you had to be in shape, and I was just, very honored, to be able to do that, to lead the country in all-purpose yards, touchdowns, and rushing yards as well.
Well, there is definitely a lot of expectations for you and those teams. I mean, certainly they were led by the phenomenal, that defense was pretty tough, and Randall was, if not the most exciting player in the league, right? He was right up there. Randall
was awesome. Yeah. I can't wait to go to his Hall of Fame induction whenever they wise up and make him in a Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, you're right there in the front row with a pair of pom-poms cheering.
There was nothing you didn't want to see happen with him, because he would do anything on the field. I mean, he was like so exciting. It was a thrill to watch. And and I'll never forget, getting a chance to meet him and Reggie White. It was like the first time I was in the locker room. It was like my heart was beating like all fast and everything. Like these were two guys. They were the two. They were the two men. It was like wow. But so with that expectation on you, I mean, Philly fans can be tough, and you were kind of like in that between position, like you could catch the ball out of the backfield. Were you a running back? Were you a fullback? How did you deal with that adversity?
Well, I think it was just coming with knowledge and people understanding, who I was and me and getting a feel for the city and understand who the fans were. And people that know me best. I've never been a selfish individual. I've always cared about one thing, and that's W's and L's. I want to win the football game, whatever at any cost. So my individual statistics, was secondary to what was on the scoreboard. And I always wanted to be associated with being a winner. And the position that I played is I was a little bit of ahead of my time as far as where how the game has changed. I wouldn't necessarily say evolved; it's just changed today. When you got more specialty guys, my first 2 years in Philadelphia, I didn't even have training camp because I was rehabbing from injuries. So once I was able to, by going into my third year, I was able to have a full off-season, preseason game, and to really get ready for the upcoming season. My career took off from years 3 through 13. After the first 2 years in Philadelphia, they embraced me. They see what I brought, to the game. And I probably didn't win a lot of, individual accolades like going to Pro Bowls. But guys, I had the respect of my peers. People from other teams would come, man, I want to vote for you for the Pro Bowl, but what position do you play? I said, I play offense. If they need me to carry the ball, I carry the ball. They need me to catch it, I catch it. They need me to block, I'll block. And I just want to be about winning football games, and that's what we were about. In those days, when you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles during my era, Buddy Ryan era, you talk about the defense first, but we was electric on offense. We had play-with makers on offense, and it was an honor to be a part of those guys. And to be playing in Philadelphia, I always said, no matter where I am, it was apropos that we're all together in Philadelphia, and the moniker for Philadelphia is a city of brotherly love. And everybody on those teams, we were like brothers. Whether you played offense, defense, special teams, we was together and really had a bond. Strong today. Ron Heller, any of those guys, and we'll talk like for 2 or 3 hours like we was just together yesterday. That's how the bond that we have that's never going to be broken.
What was it like playing in the Fog Bowl?
Oh, the Fog Bowl. It was different, to say the least. And to this day, there's no way you're going to make me believe Chicago had 11 people on the field on defense. They had at least 13. They had at least 13. I mean, I remember arguing with one of the officials. I'm like, we can't see. If I'm in the backfield and I'm lined up behind Randall Cunningham at quarterback, only thing I can see is to the tackles. I couldn't see the tight end. I couldn't see the wide receiver. And the referee going to argue me, said, as long as we can see the goalposts, we're playing. How are you going to see a white goalpost into a white fog?
Yeah,
you can't see the goalpost. But, I found out how powerful television was because that was a playoff game, and that was the first playoff game that particular day. They had another playoff game scheduled for, I think, about 3:30 or 4, and they didn't want to overlap. So they was not about to postpone the game. They wanted to, they didn't want to, compete with another playoff game. So they made us play through the fog. And no sooner than the game was over, probably about another half hour, 45 minutes after the game, it was clear. And we had no problems flying out of Chicago back to Philadelphia. It's like that would not happen today. They would just delay the game and
took the word out of my mouth.
I believe we would have won the Super Bowl in 1988.
Yeah, you're not alone with that. You're not alone with that one. I mean, so you finally did get your Pro Bowl with Miami. You got to play with one of the top 10 quarterbacks of all time, Dan Marino, and you guys went to the championship game, right? That one year?
Well, not in Miami. Not in Miami. No, I went to the New England Patriots when I went to the
Patriots. Okay.
Yeah, the Patriots went to the Super Bowl with them. But you talked about me going to the Pro Bowl finally in Miami. That was in 1993, my first year there after I left Philadelphia. That was the first year they instituted a fullback into the Pro Bowl.
Ah,
So I would have made more Pro Bowls in Philadelphia if they would have had a fullback. They didn't have a fullback in the Pro Bowl roster until 1993. So I would say I missed out on at least 5 other Pro Bowl selections from 98, from 88 to 92 that I would have been a part of if they could have voted for me, at the fullback position, but that wasn't the spot available.
so you ended up closing out your career on the Jets, right?
Correct.
And I'd
Then I
be
came back
remiss
to Philly for a one-day signature so I could say
to get right. Right.
Philadelphia.
But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Gary Vaynerchuk, he's like the man when it comes to marketing, promotion. I love this guy. He's phenomenal. He's doing these live shows every morning now and giving out like free advice to people that they should be paying millions of dollars for. So I had to mention the Jets. Say, do me a favor and just say, shout out to Gary V.
Hello, Gary V. When you gonna give me an appearance?
Well, hey, look, he wants to own the Jets, and I have no doubt he's going to.
No, I like the Jets. I only played there 1 year. Had a tremendous time, being with the Jets. We went to the AFC Championship game. So when people ask me, when did you play with the Jets? I said when they were good. So Parcells, we were Vinny and the Jets that year. So that was a lot of fun. It was a great year to play, in New York.
What would you have to say, like, to the people out there in Philly and all over in terms of, a positive comment to leave them with?
Well, I live here in Ohio now, and I defend Philadelphia people and the Philadelphia fans all the time from the standpoint they're misunderstood. Number one, they're probably the number one misunderstood fan base in all the sports, and with that comes they're also the number one fan base in all the sports and all professional sports for sure, is the Philadelphia Eagles. So they are loyal. And what I loved about Philadelphia playing there is they embrace you. All they want is all you got. Just give me a good, hard day's work and we'll support you. Win, lose, or draw. They want to win, but they understand the flow of all that, and the Philadelphia fan. And that's what, I was able to give them. And that's when the love affair between me and Philadelphia, come, full circle. I went from the beginning of my career, maybe a possible, draft first round bust because I was injured. And when I was finally healthy, I'm like, yes, we love this guy because he believes a hard worker. He's gonna give you all he's got every day. Yeah. So that's why my love affair with Philadelphia, even to this day, whenever I get off the airplane in Philadelphia, walk through the airport, somebody recognizes me. Hey, you're back. I'm like, no, but it feels good. This is my second home. My first home is Ohio. My second home is Philadelphia, South Jersey area. I love that area. And, who knows, maybe one day I may buy me a condo and spend a few months a year there every year, especially during the fall.
Get you some gigs on TV and,
Yeah.
So obviously, like everybody else, you're confined to, home unless you're getting some food and going to the pharmacy. How have you kind of changed your routine up? What's going on with you?
Well, I'm just like everyone else. I'm listening to the experts, Dr. Fauci, listening to him when he talks, because he knows exactly, what he's talking about. So I don't leave the house, without a mask, a glove, gloves on my hand and eyewear. I have a pair of glasses. I'm not wearing them now, but when I go out in public, I put either sunglasses on or my prescription glasses, just for safety. But I'm not really out. I'm just staying at home.
Doing more reading? Are you doing more reading or
I'm
TV
doing a ton of reading. I'm getting caught up on my movies.
What'd you see lately?
Binge watching. I just finished watching last week in about 2.5 days, Ozark. On Netflix.
Yeah, I'm on that. I'm on episode 2, season 3. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy stuff.
Yeah, my wife and I watched episode. I had to go back and watch it with her because she hadn't seen it. We watched season 1 all day. We took one day that Friday. We watched 10 episodes in one day, and so it was good for me to go back and binge watch with her because it refreshed my memory on some things I may have forgotten. So now I got all 3 seasons under my belt, and I'm just about to watch another series on Netflix, something called The English Game.
with that.
It's about soccer. So I'm going to watch that. So I'm just being home. And, it's just I have a radio show that I do here in Dayton, Ohio, and I do that a couple of days a week. So my own show, I talk sports. So I love sports. I'm a lifer. And this is the first time in history we have no sports, nothing that happened on television last night, no sporting event. So that is
This will be the Masters weekend, right?
exactly. I love the Masters.
That's one of my
Pushed
favorite.
back in November.
Yeah,
But
and they canceled.
Tiger have to wait to defend his crown a little while longer.
Yeah, then they canceled the British Open yesterday. That's
the first time since what, World War II or something
yeah,
like
something like that. And Wimbledon's canceled, so it's bad over in Europe.
Yeah.
But
Olympics are postponed. So.
Yeah, man, it's just it's crazy. Like, what do you tell your kids, in this situation?
Well, this is one for the history books.
Yeah.
So we're living history. We're being a part of it. So hopefully the end will come sooner than later. We just don't know yet.
Well, lastly, I just want to tell everybody, that you and some other of your teammates are going to be helping out with the South Jersey Food Bank. We're doing something with that, and I appreciate your help. And as always, you're a very charitable guy, and I really appreciate you being on the show so much. And if I can help you out, get some guys on your show. I have a couple current guys.
Okay.
You let me know, and I'll hit you back later to get that little recorded blurb or whatever.
Sure.
And,
sure.
Thanks, man, and be safe. I hope your family.
Philadelphia, South Jersey.
Take care.
Take care. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks, man.
Bye-bye.